A young guy opens the door to Addie. Pause here. Yes, I've nicknamed her Addie. As I was saying, the door opens and our sweet Adaline, who's actually Jenny in this portion of her life, aka Blake, is standing there in all her beauty, and the nervous boy says they are ready, her fake IDs. She needs new ones always. She appreciates the work he has done, but wants him to do better as a human being. We all need to do better. We will work on that. Adaline is right though. He does seem to have potential. She tells our young guy, it's the little things that trip you up. I've found sidewalk cracks do the same for me. 1. She knows this all too well. And 2. He was using a fake name and she figured it out very easily. After spending a lifetime the way she has, which we will see, she knows. Oh yes, she knows. Adaline is eating a bit and talking to her dog, looking at old photos and living in her moment. She is running late for work and catches a taxi. The traffic is horrible all over town, so she tells the driver where to go because she seems to know every street, like she's her own Google Maps. To the archive office in downtown San Francisco we travel. Addie is looking through some old reel-to-reel and sees tape from 1906. She gets the movie machine up and running and loads the movies. Scenes of San Francisco pass by and she watches with knowing and what seems to be a bit of sadness, all too familiar with the scenes and memories.
Adaline Marie Bowman.
We are seeing some amazing flashback images here of her husband working on the bridge, and this is where our story really kicks off. 10 months after her husband dies, we see Adaline driving down the road and the narrator is telling us she's on her way to her parents' house to get her baby girl, when a rare phenomenon that makes it snow in San Francisco keeps Addie mesmerized. When the car slides off the road and plunges her into the water below, another earthly science phenomenon happens again. She plummeted into an instant hypothermia in the water, and she died quite abruptly. Lightning strikes the water and literally shocks her back to life after 2 minutes. Something in the instant death and reanimation makes her aging cells turn off, as though she's animated here in time. Adaline will now forever be 29 years old. Yes, please. I would take it all to have that. Women are paying so much money to look like Blake at 29. So we see years passing and Addie's trying to live a normal life, working and making friends. She goes about her every day just as you and I would. But when a friend notices she and her daughter look like sisters and no longer like mother and daughter, she has to move on from place to place all around San Francisco all over again. People always notice the lack of aging, kind of like all the vampires in every vampire movie. She panics and her daughter tries to calm her, but they both know she can't stay around. She moves and gets a new place and starts a new job at a school of medicine. She uses her free time to research, but cannot find an explanation for her condition. Our lovely narrator informs us that the answer will not be discovered until 2035. So sorry guys, we're all going to be waiting for some time. She's watching her daughter age and time is marching on, yet she always stays the same. The FBI get wind of her and attempt to kidnap her, but Miss Adaline has seen a thing or two, so she manages to escape and hide again, but again, always on the run. She has to tell her daughter goodbye, says she will make a new identity and come back to her as her daughter's friend so she can stay a while. She has to run, always. This means leaving her daughter behind a lot. Her next plan is to move to Oregon and become Susan in just a few short days. She will begin yet again. But as we all know, the story can't end here. She's about to meet the catalyst of our lovely story, the character who will help move the story along. Her friend will ask what her New Year's resolution will be, and Addie says to live this year as though it's my last. Foreshadowing, gotta love it. This is where Monkey Wrench, or rather Ellis, enters our timeless Addie's life. He is tall, dark, and quite handsome, and so sweet. Also has money and probably loves dogs. Basically, he's perfect. They have a love at first sight moment, but it's fleeting. Midnight rolls around and her daughter calls to say happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetheart.
When she goes to leave, Ellis almost breaks his hand to catch her elevator, and she says, putting your hand in places it doesn't belong. Ellis says, I wanted to spend 27 floors with you. Could he get any cuter? Addie is so cool and has confidence without cockiness and just a smooth lady. I suppose that's what endless time gets you. Perfection over self. Ellis helps her into a taxi and his hand gets hit on the taxi and she gives him the line about his hand in the wrong place. She leaves rather reluctantly, but knowing it's right because it could go somewhere and she can't have that. A girl in the office is going on about how Mr. Jones is going to make a $50,000 donation to the Heritage Society. Well, we see that Ellis is Mr. Jones, and he's low-key stalking Adaline. He tells her she has to accept a date or he won't make the donation. She, of course, has to accept. He gives her flowers, but in the sweetest way. They are books written by people with flower names or titles that have flowers in them. Again, is he perfect or what? He tells her he's going to take her somewhere she's never been. After all these years, you're thinking impossible, but it's not. He takes her to to see a cool ship buried underground. He tells her a story of how the boats were left during the gold rush days and just left, so they were built over, and now they are preserved underground. Adaline is impressed. He's wealthy because he's uber smart and he wants to give back. He tells her a bad joke, and even that's cute. Adaline and Ellis go on another date, and they're falling in love for sure. Ellis tells her the first time he saw her, and you can tell she's torn because she has to hold on to her secret so tight. She remembers back to a time when she was going to meet a boy she was in love with and saw him holding a ring. She ran and never looked back because she couldn't marry him. She couldn't share her secret. This could be that moment again, and she doesn't know just what to do yet. Trigger warning, time marches on with Addie's dog as well, and she has to put him down. This scene was gut-wrenching and I cried a lot. Seriously, like even after the movie was over. We will see a cool photo album of her dogs over the years. She always gets the same looking one. It's so sweet. But another goodbye just about does her in now. This makes her want to push Ellis away as well because his fate is the same. She will have to say goodbye and she can't deal with it. So when he finds her outside her apartment, she gets upset that he found her because this means her secret could be found out, but also because it means he's getting attached. Adaline will tell Fleming she's so tired of running and hiding and wants to stop, but she can't. She tells her about Ellis and Fleming says, make it right, please do it for me. Adaline has much to think about. She's going through photo albums of Fleming's life and sees how many years she had to miss to keep her secret. She and Fleming both had to pay for her curse and blessing, but she will do right as her daughter asked her to, and will deal with Ellis. She will go to his work and make an amazing and awkward apology to one of Ellis' crew, and it's endearing and they get back together. All is well for now. They will go to Ellis' parents for the weekend and they will pick up his sister, Kiki, along the way. This is one of those characters that is seriously not needed. No offense, but she doesn't carry any of the story and comes off kinda rude. The whole scene could be deleted. Sorry, not sorry. This is what I like to refer to as the beginning of the end of the story. The climactic moments that will lead and build to an end, good or bad. When they walk in the door, Adaline and Han Solo, no, just kidding, it's William, and he and Adaline have an instant moment and you know he recognizes her, and she knows he knows who she is. This is so intense, I can't stand it.
Adaline.
He calls her by her name, but we must remember she's going by Jenny right now, and when he says Adaline, it feels like it takes all the air from the room. He starts telling the story of Adaline, and she says she was my mother, but also tells him she died. William keeps going on about how much she looks like Adaline, and he's so taken, and it gets awkward, and the wife gets a bit jealous, and the son gets embarrassed. Adaline, or Jenny, is visibly uncomfortable and taken to her past mentally. William is heavy into his feelings later in his office, and he remembers them meeting on a road in England, and he was immediately in love. They spent 5 glorious weeks together, and they were in love. She flew back to the States with him, and he was the boy she left behind on the park bench. The boy that wanted to marry her. Heartbreaking. The next morning, Dad is apologizing to Son and then goes into further story about Adaline, about how they spent time together and she helped him find himself. Mom gets way upset and Dad says it was a blip in time, but you can tell it wasn't. They are about to celebrate 40 years together, and Adaline's face made an instant change in him. He reassures his wife and they move on. Later that night, they're playing Trivial Pursuit, and we just know that Addie is going to be amazing. She's been around so long, she has to know almost everything. William is never lost, but tonight the title goes to Adaline, and she finds out he named his comet after her, his life's research. Adaline talked him into staying the course and following astrology. She really had changed his life. It was already too much at this time for Adaline, but she kept pushing on. It was building though. The pressure is about to come to a head. After the game, we see them, Addie and William, outside, and she says, "Why did you name your comet after my mom?" William says, "Like your mother, a near miss, because the comet never showed." She says, "My mom loved you too."
I can't imagine my life without you.
The next day, everyone is out when Adaline and William have their big moment, and he realizes the truth. She tells him she can't explain what happened to her, but she's sorry. "Please tell the truth," he says. "I thought I was losing my mind." She has a scar on her hand that he sewed up for her when they were hiking in the woods all those years ago. He had found a picture, and she, of course, looks exactly the same. Adaline says, "I couldn't tell you because of what they would do to me," meaning the government, of course. She's a specimen to be studied. He knows she is right, and he asks if she's told anyone, and she says it would have been Ellis if she was going to tell anyone. She's going to run and he knows it. He begs her not to leave. Stay for Ellis. All these years you've lived, but you didn't have a life. So powerful, this line. She's never been able to relax. He is spot on with this line. It breaks her because she knows. She, of course, runs, and Ellis freaks out when he notices her suitcase is gone. He sees his dad and confronts him. His dad says, "She's gone. She can't explain it to you." Ellis is frantic, and his dad asks Ellis, "Do you love her?" And he says yes. His dad says, "How do you know?" And Ellis says, "Because nothing makes sense without her." His dad gives him car keys, and he goes to find her. Ellis is going to try and save Adaline, but to no avail. So when the ambulance gets there, they shock her back to life. Lightning strikes again, and her heart starts beating. Her cells have come back to life. The very hypothermia and instant shock that took her will now bring her back. Ellis goes into the room with Adaline and they kiss, and she says, "I love you too." And there's something else. "My name isn't Jenny." We see Fleming come in, and she introduces herself to Ellis as Jenny's grandmother, but Adaline says he knows. She had told him everything, and Fleming is crying happy tears. Adaline finally looks relaxed for the first time in that hospital bed.
Kathy and I were really grateful that you could all be here.
This scene is obviously needed, so we know William has closure, and it won't be weird that Adaline has now been with father and son. He goes on for quite a while about his love for Kathy and really drives the point home. I think we know he loves her, but we know that Adaline was his true love, I think. But let's now ruin the moment by thinking too hard about how this will play out if all parties really thought long and hard about it. I love this in movies, the instant fast forward in time. Fleming and Ellis are waiting for Addie to get ready for the New Year's Eve party, and they look amazing. We see a new puppy that looks like the last running around. So cute. Fleming is very much in their lives now, and it seems Adaline can now live a life. Really live. She runs back into her room when she catches something from the corner of her eye. Adaline sees a gray hair and she smiles ever so slightly, saying to Fleming is all right. And it is because we discover that her second accident started the aging process. She will grow old with Ellis. She will get to complete her life, it seems. Swoon. Such a great story. Well told, beautiful, and timeless like Adaline, and just so well done. There are no crazy loose ends or things that make you go, just completion, happiness, and full circle. I ask you, viewer, what would you do with all that extra time? Would you love every day or run from it? All the things you'd know and get to experience, but all the love you'd lose. The thought of endless time sounds amazing. All the things you'd learn, languages and ideas, so many jobs you could try, different foods, all the places you could go, all the discoveries you could make, and the lands you could visit. I suppose if I looked like Blake, I'd want to live forever and just go on being amazing. But knowing she will get to pass one day and not be the one always left behind is satisfying in itself. The thought of final closure on her story is how it had to end. She has to be able to move on. Again, 10 out of 10 must see. Until next time.